Hey Ratbags, it's Jade today and giving you a lowdown on what you should be doing for the latest Toxic Tangle update to hit Grounded 2, including growing the key lime tree, taking on the mysterious stranger, and a bunch more. Timestamps are going to be there if you need to skip ahead. There's been a few issues in the testing of this update, so some people have been stuck, so I'll cover that as well. I can't imagine too much is going to change in terms of unlocking the actual boss fight. So yeah, hopefully my pointers will give you the right steps. I probably will do more breakdown guides on some of the steps in more detail. So if you find this video useful, leave a like, and if you're not subscribed, well, make sure you are right now and you've got notification bell dinged. Let's go. So face off against the mysterious stranger and complete the story content that's currently in game. You are going to need to make sure that your axe is upgraded to tier 3 as well as your wrench upgraded to tier 2. As parts of the missions require these two tools particularly to gain and progress. You probably will need your hammer upgraded as well, just to make life a bit easier at a certain part. Some extra rewards part of this are the ponic patch, which allows you to grow a bunch of foods. Along the way, I'm also going to show you how you can get the ladybug buggy and how you unlock the sour KATANGA, but that's obviously a reward for defeating the boss. Plus, a way to get rid of the gunk doors that you've come across with the new tier 3 bomb. It's worth pointing that stuff out because this guide will help with all that. Now you may need a lot of raw science, and at the moment in testing the raw science was kind of broken and not everyone had enough. It depends on how many raids you fought in the first part of the game and how quickly you took on the mixer. So whatever you do, make sure you get the tool upgrades first before you unlock anything else. Once you've spoken to Sloane, she'll tell you to head over to the greenhouse and you need to find a way into the archives. When you get to the entrance you will find it's guarded by a orc cricket. There's quite a few different orc variants. Definitely obviously go ahead and peep it if you're trying to get the Trapper Peeper card, as it looks like the orc creatures again don't respawn, but you will find another variant called ogre and they do respawn in some locations. And that's it. Once defeated, go and put your hand on the scanner to open the door, and we're now in the field archives. Now we've still got a bit of work to do, in fact a lot of work. There'll be a door that's blocked up with gunk, which means you're going to need the new tier 3 tangy blaster bomb, whatever it's called, to break free. And that's the ultimate goal of this whole adventure, is to get access to these bombs so we can get into that door. There is another door in this arena, so make sure you head into it and talk to Sloane, and she'll give you the first of your 3 quests. This is where some things have gone wrong for some players because some of these weren't triggering in the right order, meaning they couldn't progress. We need to make sure that there's no leaks from a hose. We also need to turn on the power to the gardens, as well as retrieve something from one of the shelves in the greenhouse. So the first thing we need to do is restore the water. So for this, I do recommend that you obviously have the wrench upgraded to tier 2 to make life a bit easier. Also some sort of resistance against the sizzling. For convenience, you will need your ant buggy, although it's not essential, as well as the ladybug. Again, not absolutely needed, but it will make certain sections just a tiny bit easier. This is where you're going to need your wrench to actually be working at level 2. Head up to the garden wall. You should find a water spout that is leaking towards the north of the garden in front of the greenhouse. So obviously use your wrench and fix it. And you will also need at least 12 of the new sap bandages, which are meant for healing your buggy when you're riding them, but we're also going to need them to go ahead and get rid of some of the leaks that we find in the hose. So this part is relatively simple. You just need to follow the green hose all the way along looking for any leaks. There will be at least 8 leaks in this section of the story where you follow in the green hose. Next one's under the trestle table in amongst some vegetables. The next leak inside the blue pot, so go and fix that. There will be a cave that you can get out, otherwise if you can find a way to jump back out, good luck. You will have to face against some cockroach queen and her little babies if you go through the cave. Just keep walking along the hose and you should see the next one, again inside an overturned box. And then there's another leak just outside the stack of bricks, that's right in the middle of the vegetable patch. When you get some leaves that are covering the hose, you need to start going up. And the next leak you'll see is on top, again close to that stack of bricks. Follow the hose and you'll get to the edge of the flower bed with the fairy castle in it, which is going to be important because we need to go in there eventually. You will see the leak just on the edge of it here, just make sure you jump up. And then the last leak for now is right at the water source going into the flower bed. From here you should jump directly on top of the flower bed in front of you. I decided to go walkabouts, but you shouldn't do that. You should notice the fairy house. It will be guarded by a wolf spider. Either defeat him or just run straight ahead and go down this laboratory inside the tower itself. Little bit of lore and another body, and you'll see one of the ogre creatures that you're now going to fight. These guys do respawn, so don't worry if you didn't peep him. And then just fall into the hole that you can see. He obviously will be firing tang, but honestly they're not that hard, these guys. They just hit very hard sometimes. You'll then be in the candy processing facility. This is where you're going to need some protection against spicy, or just have a lot of the cooling healing bandages. If you've come here early without stopping any of the leaks, you won't be able to proceed, so you do need to make sure you've gone and shut up all 8 of the leaks first. Head into this room here and you'll notice there is a red valve. There's another red valve, in fact another 2 red valves that we need to shut off as well. So this one won't work until we shut off the one that's on top of this water container, which you can gain access to by climbing the ladder. Crawl along the pipe and then turn the valve. Then the second valve, that's here. And then the third one's in this little viaduct. Now if you're starting to feel the burn, don't panic, just get your wrench and repair the small thing here. And as soon as you turn the valve, the sizzling will stop. The other room's got plenty of candy in it as well as some tang, so yeah, make sure you go and fill up your boots. And in the room with the fallen containers of candy, go through this doorway and you'll be in a laboratory. This is where you also get the schematic to go ahead and get the ladybug nest. You also unlock the ice glob here as well, the fresh mint globs, which you will have to spend your raw science on unlocking at the Omnit machine. Now you don't technically have to go and complete the candy factory to gain access to the ladybug or the fresh mint globs. You can just come in here and do everything I've just done without turning the valves off, if you kind of want to rush for the ladybug. So we're not done yet. You need to carry on following through on the hose pipe, as there's another 4 leaks to take care of. This one can be slightly more tricky. There's quite a few dangers like earwigs and stuff, but you should see them in obviously the distance. There are some big gaps in between them though this time, and you'll eventually find your way going back towards the greenhouse. Another one just on this path here. If you come across the cricket, obviously don't hit it and you'll be good, as it won't hit you. And the fourth and final one is just underneath the lip of some of the floorboards or a pot. You can see it going back into the greenhouse. Next we have to make sure the valves are all in place for it to be completed, and this is where I ran into problems because I did this first before actually turning or fixing the leaks. If you do it out of order at the moment, yeah, it is broken, although I imagine it will be fixed by the time you get to try it yourself. You'll see the valves here, obviously in the blue. You need to find them scattered around and replace them. There should be 8 of them that need replacing. On the ground at this level, there's always 4 in a row next to each other. So make sure that all 4 are there when you're trying to find them. And you will find more than you actually need. So don't worry if it's hard to find one. Just keep looking around and you will be able to find the rest. But there's a good few just at the very beginning stages of this. This is much easier if you've got your ladybug buggy, as you can simply clear away the tang with its water turret. But again, as long as you're quick and got plenty of heals, you can do this relatively easy. So you can see I've already got 3 of them just by the starting point. If you look up on top of the hose towards the left, if you're facing the archive entrance, then you should see it this way. You go back on yourself to where you found them first 3, in between the bricks and the planter, you should find another one just here as well. So I used it on the middle one for this one. And there you can see there's another one that we need. And you place this one on here, just close to the entrance to the archive itself. Now against the wall you will find another one, so just here by the cactuses. You have to climb up the water spout thing here. As you go through the 2 little puddles of tang, turn around behind you and you'll see the next blueprint. That's obviously just here. If you quit you can do it while jumping, but don't panic too much, as there will be some leaves breaking your fall down below. So if you keep going up and along, you'll see that you can get outside of the greenhouse onto the roofs, but we don't need to do that just yet. We need to go and do more of these valves. Jump on this leaf here, and then you can jump up onto the hose and quickly go through the tang. There will be some more weavers to take care of, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem. And then you've got to go across this branch, and you can see there's 2 valves. Just, yeah, don't fall. Kind of sucks that your orb weaver can't actually pick anything up, otherwise this would have been a lot easier being able to go across that web that you can see. But yeah, here's the next one. It's in the middle of the tang, so again, you're going to have to be quick and go back for the next one. And this one's quite far, you have to go all the way round. Pay attention to this plant with the ogre creature in there, as that's where we're going to pick up a seed we need for later. But you don't need to worry about it at this stage yet. Keep running all the way along, and you'll be at the last one that you need to add. From here, if you keep going, you can actually get down onto the shelving and explore them areas too. If you see any more valves, you don't actually have to add any more. Like I said, they're just going to be spare. So you can go back and turn it on, but first you really should maybe plant the seed. Now the seed can be found in that pot that I mentioned earlier. There's quite a few different ways into it. You can go up the sprinkler system like we just did, or if you go in from the roofs, you can then summon your ant buggy to chop through. This is meant to be like the resistance apparently to omnipresent workers basically striking out on their own. If you go round to the other side, there'll be another entrance to the pot undergrowth, and there obviously you can use your ant, or you can just actually jump in by climbing some of the roots. Best to do this at the daytime so you can see the twinkle. I'm not too sure if it does shine at night time, but you'll pick up the super sour seed. Go ahead and give it to your ant buggy to hold, and don't forget to peep the ogre northern scorpion. There is a dead body here with some goodies, flares, sturdy quartzite and granola bars, and a small bit of lore. Apparently someone was trying to tame these ogres, and it seems like these guys are maybe some of the people that actually created the ogres in, I guess, in defiance of Omnipresent, given that note says about keeping its pet under control. Again, this is where there's been some problems. If you planted the seed before turning off the leaks, then it wouldn't pop up with the button you needed to go ahead. And actually you've got to plant the seed before you turn the valve on, so make sure you don't do that first. So plant the seed, then go ahead and turn the valve on, and the water should start flowing. Now there's just one more thing we need to do. We need to go and turn on the power. This is probably going to be the most challenging part of this, is you're going to need to repair some of the junction boxes. There's 3 of them, and there's a hell of a lot of was that you might have to deal with along the way. So as always, make sure you've got plenty of stuff that's going to give you resistance against venom. Particularly the ladybug, as I said earlier, not only is it good for the tang, but it's also actually more convenient to take these guys on with. You can shoot them with the water, heal yourself, and yeah, I definitely recommend it. If you run along the garden wall all the way to the very south edge of the garden, right up against the gate that you can see there's actually a junction box below us, and it's got a pine cone blocking it, which I didn't think you needed to destroy, but thinking about it, you do need to drop down onto the wires that are in here. But that's why I chucked in that it might be useful, obviously, to make sure you've got your hammer upgraded, again, just to make it a bit easier. Inside the junction box, there's going to be 2 wires, and this is also messing things up. It certainly messed me up. The black one there that's shining, you need to use your tier 3 axe to strip away the actual parts, and then you need to connect the connectors. I totally missed this. A big shout out to my chat that helped me during live stream. But yeah, chop away at the wire, press on the orange, and then that's it. You should be able to get out. 2 more of these to go. Next up, we're going to be climbing a lot of the vines. It's right across again into the far southeast corner, and you'll see a metal pipe on the ground in the pumpkin patch leading up to it. This one's guarded more by orb weavers instead of wasps, although there are a few flying around, especially as you come close to one of their nests, but you might be able to avoid it if you're really sneaky. Your orb weaver still might be really useful, but just keep making your way up. I ended up doing this another day because I did want to make sure that you guys could see a bit more clearly. Not going to lie, it is a little bit difficult getting up here, but it's not like something I feel I need to show beat by beat. I believe in you gamers, you can do it. Eventually, right underneath the very top of the fence, you should see some smoke coming from the next junction box. You can go up top and see if there's any loot, maybe even put a lean-to if you really want. There will be another pine cone that you can bust open, and the idea is that you can drop down in the gap to get into this place a little bit easier. Take care of the orb weavers and then again repair the wires. As you exit out on the far eastern wall, you should see the next junction box. The luminescent wires here do go over it as well, so it's pretty easy to get to this next one. So if you have climbed up on that table with the wires, you'll notice the pretzel. Just obviously keep climbing around and eventually you'll get to the top of the junction box. You just need to go across the little fence ridge that's there eventually once you jumped on top of this leaf. For me, this one didn't have too many enemies around, although I had cleared out a lot of wasps near the more southeast wall. And then the last task, we've got to go and turn the power switch on, which is on top of the scarecrow. So if you go from the top of the roof of the shed, it's probably the easiest way, as long as you're okay and confident in jumping. Otherwise, just go underneath and climb your way up. Right on top of its shoulder, you will then find the switch, which you just interact with. And that's it, we're ready to go. So with all that done, there should be a button that pops up. And this is something that some players, again, had trouble with. And there you go, it's going to be the fight time. So if you don't want to watch, get out of here right now. Otherwise, I'm going to take you through my encounter with the mysterious stranger and her new mount. So yeah, ladybuggy definitely recommended for this if you're having trouble, as it will be useful for getting rid of some of the sour pulls that both of these are going to basically use against you. If you fought the broodmother, especially the infected broodmother in Grounded 1, you'll have no problems with this boss. You can parry absolutely every attack. You can still get on your ladybug and just fire away with your water turret, obviously. But I wouldn't recommend it at this stage. I would say get in a few good hits like you just saw there, and then maybe go ahead and tank some if you really want. Just remember to keep healing your ladybug, as it will come in useful. The water really doesn't do much. It's basically like trying to take on Axel with the All Weaver. Not the best, but you could do it. Stranger is still weak against fresh and still pretty resistant against, I do believe, spicy, and I'm guessing resistant against sour too. Doesn't explicitly say that when you go ahead and peep her. Super easy to spot the different phases because obviously the colour changes. This is where you might want to get on your buggy, as she should start shooting more pools of the sour liquid. Otherwise you can just dodge out of the way of them, but if you've got the ladybug mount, you might as well use it. Clear up the arena floor just in case you are moving into it while dodging, and then go and take on the stranger on her own. She is pretty immune to the water damage, so I would say get off. She probably will be concentrated on your buggy though, so that's something to be careful of in case it gets downed. Otherwise, disappointingly, she's almost exactly the same boss fight that you had originally. Maybe a few extra little twirls. She'll still do some sort of tang damage when she jumps away from you. Keep breaking her guard or a block. Your buggy might come in handy there with its shove. And I was kind of crazy to feel that, yeah, it was simple enough to do, considering I had so much trouble completing the mixer in the gardens. This ended up being easier than taking down a bunch of wasps. Once the stranger's health is low enough, it begins another phase. The broodmother will then drop down, or the sour mother, I guess. At this point, I would focus on taking down the broodmother first. Clear out any of the pools. Stranger will get back on the brood, but like I said, if you've ever fought it before, then you should be okay. It's not nowhere near as fast as the IBM. From Grounded 1, it only has that side attack that sometimes it can do, with the jump sour probably the worst. And then eventually get its health low enough and the final phase begins, and the room will start turning purple. This is where they both might start ganging up on your mount, but you should focus on the orc broodmother and hopefully you'll get it done. Once it's defeated, you should be able to take out the stranger a lot easier. My pinchwhacker wasn't doing the most damage here. I'm assuming that maybe spicy will still be pretty good. So yeah, you could bring a spicy weapon just for the orc broodmother if you really want to try it. But given it is orc, I would still probably stick with a build that you use for other orc creatures. I've got the transmitter trinket, can't remember the exact name of it here. And FYI, my pinchwhacker and my armor is all still only level 3 at this point. And so I didn't have enough raw science to go ahead and craft any of the globs. So if you've managed to get that stuff as well as do the rest of this, then you should be able to find this a lot easier. When the health gets low enough, actually kill the orc broodmother, then cutscene begins and the stranger will of course escape for another day. The key lime tree will now grow and you'll be able to go and get the key limes as long as you've got a tier 3 axe to chop through them once they've sprouted on top of the actual greenhouse itself. Don't forget to peep the actual broodmother. You should get the gold card by defeating the stranger, but of course you can peep the broodmother while it's dead. You get 1000 raw science and obviously you need to go and speak to Sloane. We'll get 6 chunks and that's going to be needed for the katana, the sour one. Go through the story beats, she'll talk again about what's going on with the stranger, yada yada yada. Scan the parts, and yeah, that's how you unlock the actual recipe for the sour katanga. If you're wondering where the sour glob recipe is, it's actually in the greenhouse on top of the lights. I have shown this off in a separate guide. You might want to go up there and get that recipe first before doing this, because the power being turned on does make them lights a spicy area. There will be certain areas around the greenhouse now that will also become spicy. Or sizzling, I call it that all the time. The key limes are absolutely massive, but you'll only get 3 or 4 chunks from them once you've shot them down and harvested them. Really isn't that much use for them just yet, other than for the hydropods, which you can grow a lot of foods from. But quite a lot of the foods are only used in like 1 or 2 recipes for now. Obviously, as the game progresses, I'm sure we're going to be using them a lot more. And of course, hopefully now, with them key lime pieces, yes, you will be able to make the tang bomb. So you probably need about 3 of these, maybe 4. One of them will help with a shortcut back to the park bench from one of the laboratories. You will need 2 sour lumps as well as a milkweed tuft. Thankfully, these are all craftable without a bench. And of course the key lime pieces. And then yeah, use it on the gunk door and then go down the pneumatic tube. You'll find 2 bodies, both with some loot on them. One body's kind of got trashed. The other body though does have some of the cactus petals, which are quite hard to get, as they only seem to spawn on certain cactuses, which I'll be doing a video on in the future. And the recipe next to the bodies should unlock the ponic patch, which is basically the ultimate grower. So you can put a bunch of different things here, like potato eyes, carrot bits, pumpkin bits, the key lime, as well as the pumpkin seed, which will augment any smoothies you make, giving them more effects for whatever bonus effects they've got. Again, I'll cover all that in a separate farming video. And of course, the main thing is to pick up Burgle's OS chip, which at the moment, I don't think the game directs you to return to Burgle with. Maybe he's going to need more to repair him, but otherwise give it a shot and let me know in the comments what happens. But there you go, I've done my bit. Hopefully that's cleared up a few things. I'm sure lots of the issues that people have been having will be fixed by the time this is out for everyone. If there are any substantial changes, I will do another video. Last thing to maybe point out though, another gunk bomb. If you go back to the room where you speak to Sloan in the archives, you should realise this door has got a gunked up door. Some interesting lore points that talk about 555, they're one of the Omnant workers that we've seen with the purple on the posters, and that a lot of people are assuming are the mysterious stranger or related to her somehow. You pick up Sandy Blossom, which is a new smoothie as well. There's also a bunch of venom arrows that you can collect too. And yeah, to make the ponic patches, might as well tell you this as well, just in case you need to prepare. Pinecone pieces, lots of Chris's leather, lots of bug rubber, acorn tops, as well as some of the orc receivers, and you're pretty much good to go. And there we go. Until next time, rat bags, like I said, hopefully you're subscribed. If not, hit that sub button. Come and join my Discord. Let me know if you've got any problems or issues. I'll try and help you if I can occasionally. And I'd like to see some of your bases, some of your builds. So we've got lots of channels set up for that. Until next time, rat bags, I'll catch you later.